Picture this: a room packed with eager fans waiting to hear stories about the glory days of the police, expecting laughs, nostalgia, and maybe a few surprises. But instead, Stewart Copeland, the fiercely energetic drummer, delivers something unexpected. He doesn't reminisce fondly, he doesn't sugarcoat. He dives straight into something raw, something real, a story of tension, control, and frustration. And at the heart of it all is his longtime bandmate, Andy Summers. For years, Summers was seen as the calm, steady force in the midst of the fiery clashes between Copeland and Sting. But today, Copeland paints a different picture, a picture of hidden conflict and untold struggles that lingered behind the music. Copeland had always heard about the feuds between Sting and Copeland, but few suspected the tension with Summers ran just as deep. It turns out that the seemingly quiet guitarist wasn't always so neutral. Behind closed doors, he had his own battles over control, recognition, and creative direction. And those battles, Copeland now reveals, were just as intense as any others in the band's turbulent history. The Police were known for their edgy sound and electrifying performances, but beneath the surface was a different kind of energy, one driven by constant tension. While Sting took center stage as the frontman and primary songwriter, it was Copeland and Summers who often found themselves at odds over the band's creative direction. Summers, known for his perfectionist tendencies, wanted everything to be just right, while Copeland thrived on raw, unfiltered energy. Think of a late-night recording session where exhaustion hangs heavy in the air, yet Summers insists on perfecting a single guitar riff long after the others are ready to call it a night. His obsession with detail, while admirable, became a source of frustration for Copeland, who felt the band's spontaneity was being stifled. The clash wasn't just about music, it was about control. Summers wanted things done his way, and Copeland resented what he saw as an unwillingness to compromise. It's no secret that the Police produced some of the most iconic hits of their era, but what many don't know is how much tension simmered beneath the surface during their creation. One of the biggest points of contention was the song "Every Breath You Take." While Sting received the lion's share of the credit for writing the track, it was Summers' hauntingly beautiful guitar riff that gave the song its timeless quality. Yet, despite his significant contribution, Summers felt overlooked, relegated to the shadows, while Sting basked in the spotlight. Imagine pouring your heart and soul into a piece of music, only to watch someone else receive all the praise. That frustration, Copeland now reveals, weighed heavily on Summers. It wasn't just about one song, it was about a pattern. Summers wanted more recognition, but in a band dominated by Sting's charisma and Copeland's fiery personality, his voice often went unheard. Over time, those unspoken resentments grew, creating a rift that would never fully heal. Beyond the stage lights and the thunderous applause, Andy Summers was living a life filled with silent battles. Fame, for all its glittering allure, came with a price that few truly understood. Picture this: a man at the height of his career, revered by millions, yet feeling more isolated with each passing day. His life was a delicate balancing act, one that grew increasingly precarious as the demands of being part of a global phenomenon like the Police clashed with the realities of his personal life. Summers' first marriage to Kate McGill was a union built on hope, but it quickly became a casualty of his rising stardom. Think of it, late-night recording sessions that stretched into the early hours, grueling tours that kept him on the road for months at a time, and a relentless drive for musical perfection that left little room for anything else. That was how Summers wasn't just a musician, he was a man consumed by his art. And while the world marveled at the music he created, his marriage began to crumble under the weight of neglect and distance. Despite the cracks beginning to show, Summers tried to hold everything together. He juggled his roles as a husband, father, and rock star with a tenacity that only someone deeply committed to both his family and his craft could muster. But no matter how hard he tried, the pressure was unrelenting. Imagine returning home after months on tour, trying to reconnect with a family that had grown used to his absence, only to be called back into the studio before the dust of his luggage had even settled. For Summers, it was an impossible cycle, one that left him emotionally drained and questioning whether the sacrifices he was making were truly worth it. In the public eye, Summers seemed to have it all: fame, fortune, and talent. Yet behind the scenes, he was a man grappling with personal heartbreak. His marriage, once a source of stability, had become another weight dragging him down. The relentless demands of his career didn't just strain his relationship, they eroded it, leaving Summers to face the painful reality that something had to give. Eventually, it did. His marriage ended in divorce, a chapter in his life that brought no relief, only more questions. Had the pursuit of perfection in his music cost him the very thing he once held dear? And if so, was it a price he was willing to pay again? Think of a man standing on the ruins of what once was, trying to piece together where it all went wrong. Summers wasn't just dealing with creative frustrations or professional conflicts. He was wrestling with a deeper, more personal sense of loss. The man who could pour every ounce of his soul into a single guitar riff now found himself wondering if he had lost something far more important along the way. It wasn't just his marriage that had suffered, it was his sense of balance, his connection to a life outside the chaos of fame. And while he continued to push forward, determined not to let his personal struggles define him, the scars of that chapter remained, hidden beneath the surface but never truly gone. When the Police disbanded in 1986, many believed that the turbulence that had defined the band's existence would finally fade into history. After years of relentless touring, creative clashes, and personal tension, Andy Summers appeared to have an opportunity to break free from the shadows of his bandmates and carve out a new chapter in his life. But in reality, the drama was far from over. What should have been a fresh start became a continuation of the struggles he had long endured. Summers embarked on a solo career, diving headfirst into the world of jazz and experimental music, a bold move that earned him critical respect but came with a steep price. Think of a man determined to redefine himself, yet weighed down by the reputation he carried. Summers wasn't just a former rock guitarist attempting to make a name in a more niche musical realm. He was a figure whose perfectionism preceded him. While his solo albums showcased remarkable technical skill and creativity, they often failed to connect with a broader audience. Critics praised his innovation, yet Summers couldn't escape whispers from those he collaborated with, whispers suggesting he was difficult, uncompromising, and demanding to a fault. Summers' pursuit of artistic perfection became both his greatest strength and his most significant burden. Picture this, a studio filled with tension as Summers meticulously works through a complex arrangement, insisting on changes long after his collaborators feel the track is ready. While his dedication to his craft was admirable, it frequently caused friction. His uncompromising vision, though integral to his success, made him a challenging partner. Collaborations that began with promise often ended in frustration, with some musicians quietly parting ways and others voicing their dissatisfaction. The very traits that made Summers a genius on stage seemed to alienate him in the intimate confines of the recording studio. One of the most notable examples of this tension was his partnership with renowned guitarist Robert Fripp. Their collaboration should have been a match made in musical heaven, two virtuosos pushing the boundaries of guitar music. And for a brief time it was. Together they created intricate compositions that merged progressive rock with avant-garde jazz, resulting in music that was as challenging as it was brilliant. But behind the scenes, cracks quickly began to form. Fripp, known for his own exacting standards and strong-willed personality, clashed with Summers over creative control. Both men were visionaries, but neither was willing to compromise, leading to a working relationship fraught with tension. It didn't take long before the partnership unraveled. What began as a groundbreaking project ended in silence, each musician retreating into his own world. For Summers, it was another bitter chapter in his post-Police career, a reminder that while he could create brilliance, sustaining collaboration was an entirely different battle. The fallout from his work with Fripp added to a growing reputation that Summers was not just a perfectionist, but someone who struggled to maintain long-term partnerships. He wasn't simply seen as demanding, he was perceived as someone whose relentless pursuit of excellence came at the expense of harmony. Yet, despite the mounting challenges and the whispers that followed him, Summers refused to give up. Think of a man who, despite being battered by past tensions and personal sacrifices, continued to push forward, driven by an unyielding desire to create something meaningful. Every project he undertook was a testament to his resilience, a refusal to let the ghosts of his past define his future. Behind each success was a man still haunted by memories of unresolved conflicts with former bandmates, with collaborators, and perhaps most poignantly, with himself. Summer's journey beyond the police wasn't one of triumphant reinvention. It was one of constant struggle, of brilliance tinged with loneliness, of a man striving for artistic greatness while battling the weight of his own expectations. He wasn't just fighting to be heard in a new musical landscape, he was fighting to prove, perhaps even to himself, that he was more than just the guitarist from the police. And that fight, as relentless as it was, became both his curse and his legacy. Stewart Copeland's revelations today have reignited interest in Andy Summers' story, shedding light on a legacy that was far more complex than fans ever knew. Summers, often seen as the quiet one, was in fact just as conflicted and driven as his bandmates. His story is one of contrasts, a man who created beauty through music but struggled with tension, control, and recognition. Perhaps that's what makes his legacy so compelling. Summers wasn't just a guitarist in a legendary band. He was a man grappling with his own demons, trying to find balance in a world that demanded everything from him. His journey was marked by extraordinary talent, personal sacrifice, and the inevitable friction that comes with striving for perfection. And as long as fans continue to listen to the timeless riffs of The Police, Andy Summers' story will live on. A story of brilliance and struggle, of harmony and discord, forever echoing in the music he helped create.